Yeah, it's all good now. Hola chicos, hola a todos, hola a todas. Mi nombre es Alfonso, ya saben. Y como les anunciamos, hoy estamos en una entrevista en vivo hablando con la artista feroesa EIVØR, a quien tengo el gusto de tener acá hoy para que hablemos a detalle de su música, de su nuevo trabajo y compartir un poco de una conversación acerca de su trabajo, su evolución como artista y sus intereses alrededor de todo eso. EIVØR, thank you for being here. How is your day
Thank
going?
you. Thank you for having me. My day is great. I just got back home to the Faroe Islands a few days ago, and after playing a lot of festivals, so I'm just chilling.
Yeah, actually, thank you for making time. I know that you have a busy schedule these days, and I requested this interview a few weeks ago, but I'm happy to finally have the chance to sit down with you and discuss your music, your art, all things in general about your work.
Thank you.
So I might read some of the questions here for you, and what I can tell you up front is that people here in Mexico are very excited about your work, your newest release, and they are waiting for you to. We want you here in Mexico. Any
Oh,
chance of that happening in the future?
I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. I It's been on my bucket list for many years. I always wanted to go to Mexico, so I really hope that I get to visit sometime very soon.
Yeah, we
And
can
it's good to
wait.
know I have some fans there.
Oh, you definitely have some fans, and I hope that they will be showing up here today. You know,
Yeah, me too.
our audience is mostly, metal related, extreme music, and I
Oh,
think
yeah.
this record has been a surprise for plenty of us. Your introduction to the metal label Season of Mist. Perhaps we should
Oh,
start
yeah.
there. Let me ask you about that. How did that
Well,
happen?
it was a very organic, natural thing that happened somehow. I've been releasing my albums independently for many years now, and then I went on a tour with Heilung,
Yeah.
and became very good friends with all of them in the band, and also with their label. I got to meet their label, and so it was like my introduction to the label, and they were very interested in releasing my next album, which I had already recorded and finished. And then because we had this good chemistry, I just decided to go for it. I think it's exciting to try some new things, and I like their enthusiasm and their passion very much. So yeah, I guess that's how it happened.
And I see that the label has been receiving a few offers in the sphere of Nordic nature music, new folk, like Heilung. I hope that I pronounced it correctly. And a fairly recent new artist, new duet. So yeah, I think you arrived to a good place, which is enough mist.
Yeah, I
And
think so. And I mean, they are very open-minded, I think, when it comes to music, because obviously my music is not metal music at all. It's a mix of many genres, I think, but somehow it fits into the label for some reason. So that's quite exciting, I think.
and what is exciting for us is that we are Season of Mist has a following of very receptive fans, which accept good music from all over whatever latitude of expression, etc. And I know that your newest release in has been out for a few weeks now, a couple of weeks, I think,
Yes.
and you have had the chance to play shows live for that record. How has been the reception so far?
Well, first of all, it's been amazing to finally get to play these new songs, which I've been working on for many years. It's wonderful to finally get to play them live. in front of my audience and to share this new music with everyone. And I feel that people have been receiving it very well. It's been very pleasurable, actually. And I've played a few festivals so far, and I have a lot of shows coming up in the fall as well, and a few more festivals during the summer. So it's a new chapter. It feels like a new chapter, and I'm excited about it.
To be honest, I'm fairly new to your music, to your art in general. This was my first introduction with this record, and I have to give credit where it's due. Vanessa, a friend from the blog, which also writes here, and by the way, he wrote a review about your new record, and he loves it. He
Oh, amazing.
basically schooled me about your work, and he, provides me with directions to where to listen, go, all the best places to go with your music. And I'm a new fan. I'm a new admirer of your art in general. You have done great things, and I see what you mentioned, that this is a new chapter for you. And I have a few assumptions over this, or the course of this conversation, that I would like to approach to you, if that's okay.
Of course.
First of all, the first track, the opening track with the new album, that was my first interaction with your music, even before going back to your catalog. And I remember listening the first seconds of that track, and I was like, whoa, this is serious. I need to get serious too. I need to sit down, because it's lovely, sublime, beautiful, a very heavy mix of emotions there, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yes, I guess so. Yeah.
I read in the press release that this song is about watching the world from above, like getting small, and getting a perspective of how we have inflicted violence and all these negative things in our world, right? And that took me to a piece of music that I remember listening some years ago, Apotheosis of This Earth, by a Czech composer, Karel Husa, which is a piece of music in 3 movements, and it's about actually, the doomed of this earth. And the story goes that he was in a vacation home, and he sees plenty of dead fishes in a lake, and he is disturbed by it, and he tells to his wife, it is awful, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say. And his wife says to him, well, you're an artist, write about it, make music about it. And so this piece of music came to life, and it's a piece of music that you don't listen for the sake of, feeling good, of pleasure. It's about provoking something, make you think, and maybe, take some action in a positive way. I don't know if that is something that goes for you too, with making this piece of music.
Well, certainly. Well, I usually, when I write my music, I don't straight away have a specific agenda with it, because it all starts from a perspective of a feeling or a thought or emotion. But as the finished piece, I can see that it's very much about our world, both our world, literally our earth, but also our world inside. How can we sometimes try and maybe zoom out and look at ourselves and look at the world. I think that's very much what this song is about, and floating away from everything and seeing it from a different perspective. And my hope is, of course, that people in their own way make their own interpretations of what it means and what it can mean for them. I'm not trying to preach anything, but I'm just trying to offer a mood and a feeling that people can hopefully relate to.
You want to provide
in their own
a vessel,
way.
and
I'm
a vessel.
sorry?
you want to provide like a vessel for
Yeah,
us to.
yeah, kind of, but just inviting people to kind of join me on that journey, and then everyone has different ways of feeling things. So yeah, I want to keep that part open. But I very much relate to what you were explaining about, and I have to check that song out that you mentioned.
Yeah, it's Apotheosis of this Earth. I think you understand my
Yeah,
pronunciation.
yeah.
Because it's sometimes it's awful my English pronunciation. Okay, I become an expert of your music last night, and I have
Last night.
fresh thoughts about your music. First of all, the contrast of ominous music and the sweetness of your voice here. I think that was pretty much intentional to mix things together, because I've heard your catalog, and it's quite different. And I think this record finds you in a weird place, because vocally it seems that it comes from an intimate place for you, which somehow gives the feeling that you're going back to your roots vocally, at least. But with the music, I think this is your most present times, your most and evolved musicianship with electronic fusion and such. What can you tell me about it?
Yeah, I think you really captured something there that is what I feel about this album, because this album, the special thing for me about this album is that I feel like it's a new landscape musically for me that I've been very curious about creating, because it's something I feel I haven't done before at all. And then at the same time, it has very deep connection to my roots and to my it kind of collects little bits and pieces from my journey through music. So it feels like a homecoming at the same time as it feels very adventurous and outgoing. So it's a funny contrast there that I find very exciting with this album.
And when you, let's say, look back to, I don't know, let's say just look back to something, and you have all this experience and abilities learned with, through the years. I guess that is also exciting to you to reflect on all these changes, where you once were and where you are now, and see what you can do different, and how can you make it more approachable to the listener. Because one of these things that in my head is very interesting about this music is that it's dense, is thicker than ever before, but at the same time is very digestible. And I guess that has to do with me coming from, a very heavy side of music, and having the chance to appreciate the nuances of this work. I don't know if for you was at some point like a challenge of making heavy, dense, with a dense topic, by the way, make it approachable, lighter, sorry.
You know what? When I make music, I'm very I don't think about that I need it to be approachable or popular at all. I really try to not worry too much about that part, because I think as soon as you try to create something that you hope people will like, you lose your focus. And so when I have written this album, I've been very just writing very freely. And in the beginning, I thought, oh my God, what am I doing? What is this? Because one of the first tracks I wrote is the opening track, which is a very spacious and almost cinematic song, which is definitely not a pop song. And it's like 6 minutes long, and no radio station will ever play this. But for me, it's so important to just create music that I'm curious to hear, and then it just has to have its own life, and maybe people will like it, maybe not. But for me as an artist, it's just so important to feel that I am true to myself creatively, and this album is all about that. So, and then, you know, if somebody thinks it's approachable, that's just great. That makes me happy because, yeah, that's luck, pure luck.
What is it's purely confidential.
Yeah,
What is
it is. And you know, I have many sides to me musically. I love dance music. I listen to dance music. I love classical music. I like rock music, and there's so many nuances of music that I enjoy. And so when I write songs, sometimes they go into a certain direction.
I
And on this album, they go on in many
in many
directions.
directions. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I want to touch on that later, but I want to mention that I learned about you having like a trip hop band before, or
Yes.
something
You've done
rock
your
related.
homework.
Yeah, I've done it because I'm very much interested in your work, honestly. Let me ask you, now that you're in a metal label, and you have like the one of the last songs is heavy and some with some gutturals in your voice, I believe. Um, will you be interested in making, extreme music projects these days or sometime in the future?
You mean metal music or
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, well, who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, I'm very open to anything musically, but I guess we have to see where the journey takes me, because I think that, like we talked about before, my music is always somehow a development from my journey, and it goes places. So who knows where the journey will take me from
L-
here
Let's ta-
on.
let's talk about that, about the development of the journey. I don't know if this is something that you're aware of or is just accidental, but is it perhaps you have showed us in any of your records, like perhaps the next step in one song, in one particular, texture or mood of a moment of your albums? Because I see the connection that is there between the previous record and the new one, and also the slog record.
Oh yeah, Fleur.
Uh, Sorry for the pronunciation there,
Oh,
but
that's
I,
actually very good.
but I see the connections, and I don't know if you want to provide the listener to, the idea of why the future might be, or is just again accidental.
No, I think you're right about that. I think often on each album there is maybe an element that I
An element.
keep working on later on after I have done the album, and that's unconsciously. I think I never know. While I make one album, I don't know how the next one will be,
Mm.
but when I start touring with the material and playing it live, I often feel where I want to go next. So it's, I think one album leads me to the next one unconsciously. And then there
Mm.
is an element from the previous album that I dive deeper into. So it's like I dive deeper and deeper into these elements.
What I'm trying to get here is that I see plenty of opportunities for you to go deeper in the future with this record. It definitely has some fairly positive chances there.
That's good.
I need to make a quick stop in your in these records. Again, sorry, slug,
Slur.
slur. I just heard that record last night, and I don't know where I was all these years, because I don't know how I missed that over for over 7 years, 8 years. And would you agree that this record sort of opened something for you creatively, like opened the gate for you to be more confident with making experimental decisions with your music in general?
Slur? You're talking
Yeah,
about Slur, right?
yeah.
Um, yeah, that was definitely for me creatively a groundbreaking album where I
Mm,
um, first of all, just sang in my native language again, completely, and also played a lot with electronics and more industrial experimental sounds, and it was a different way of writing songs for me on that album. And yeah, it definitely it's still very much with me, the process of that album when I write music. It was a very exciting creative period for me. So
It
yeah.
it blew me away, and I don't say that lightly. All the nuances, the experimentations that you did there is beautiful. I have no words as of now for that record, but I think you have never been the same ever since. You have like, again, you can go back to that sort of learning process, because you will betray the things that a record shows to you, right? To your process and to your creativity. I don't know if you have ever since have feel like unrestrained, like more confident about whatever you're making, about, for example, and this is something that I want to ask you. When you work with all these electronic elements that are, not necessarily something that you can play with your guitar and only your voice, and you don't necessarily hear the final product of a song, if that is frightening for you, like, I don't know where this song is gonna end, but I would like to try these ideas, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of the most exciting things. And when you try something that you don't really know where it's going to take you, but then you have to trust the process. And sometimes, it takes you to a good place. Sometimes it doesn't go anywhere, and then, at least you tried. But I think it's important to somehow follow your ideas all the way home if you have an idea. So and
So
not just let it linger. I like to experiment with sounds and sample things and
let's
twist
say,
them,
in that regard, you don't disregard any idea for being bad or good. You like to try them before deciding
Yeah,
on that, and perhaps
yeah.
happy accident
I
happens.
I think you have to be careful to not judge your ideas too soon. You have to
Mhm.
kind of be quite humble and open about them, and then at some point you can toss them if you don't like
Right.
them. But
Uh,
in the process, it's nice to just let them be, I guess.
Another interesting thing about this record is that you, as you mentioned before, the last song is like your first composition, your first piece with this record, and your first song is your second track, right? So you kind of establish the edges of these records ever since from the beginning, and
Yes.
where did you go from there when you knew all the strong points, the beginning and the end? What kind of opportunities offers that for you
Yeah, I
creatively?
think, these two songs were the first ones. And I think when I wrote these two songs, the first one and the last one, I didn't even know that I was making my next album. I had just gone to this little village because I really had to dive into some music that I was hearing in my head. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm just doing a side project because these songs are so different from anything I've done before. So I thought maybe this is for something else. But then slowly, when I had finished them, I all of a sudden could realize that, oh my God, this is my album. This is the beginning and the end of my next album. So I kind of, from there, I filled in the gap. And I decided that this was Unclota was going to be the first song. And from there, I wrote the second song, which is Yara Tra, Dust to Dust. And it was just a natural kind of development that went from this more classical and spacious song into a more electronic, beat-driven,
Yeah,
bass-heavy track.
yeah.
But that track still has some of the elements from the first song. in it. So it's like a kind of two worlds that go together. And I think this album is like very much two worlds that travel parallel in a way. I don't
Talking,
know,
ab-
yeah.
ta- talking about that, I've seen recently in recent years, well, over the last 2 years, like an increasing interest in working with, electronica and Nordic folk nature of sounds mixed together. Um, uh, why do you think that nowadays is like being discovered the opportunities for these worlds to coexist together and in a very, hypnotic way, I should say.
I have no idea. I don't know, but it's an interesting combination, I guess.
Yeah.
Electro and nature. I don't know. Somehow it's so far apart, and at the same time,
Right,
it's so
right.
close. It
Yeah.
goes so well together, and it describes the world today so well somehow also because it's technology and then nature. How can they travel together, without destroying each other? I don't know. That's just my thoughts, but I guess it's to answer your question. I think that it might also have a lot to do with I don't know, TV series and stuff. There has been a lot of
Mm.
Viking series and stuff like that where you hear Nordic music, and maybe that's plays a role in it as well. And video games such as God of War and all these things.
That is very true, and I know that you have been involved with several of these projects that you mentioned, right?
Yes, I have, and
And that
yeah.
also, like, um, I don't know, if it gives you perspective in how you can evolve artistically with all of your sounds and your abilities and your, what makes you. Let me ask you about that. Sorry. How would you describe your path towards becoming your own identity over the years and keep developing on that, with the what is aesthetically beautiful, but also at some points threatening nowadays? How can you describe that path?
I'm sorry, can you give me that question one more time?
Yeah, yeah, no worries. How will you describe your path towards becoming your own identity?
My path.
Yeah, over the years.
Yeah. I mean, I think as an artist, a musician, or in any art form, you start somewhere and then you go on this journey where you discover things and you learn things and you have to try things to know, about them. So I guess slowly uh, you just come closer to your true identity as an artist. But I think it's something that always changes because
Mm.
you're always changing as an artist and you're always discovering new sides of yourself, I guess. And yeah, and I think just the more you do things, the closer you get, deeper you dig into yourself, into your music, into your art. The
Mm.
the more I don't know, the more you find, and the stronger you feel creatively or something. I don't know. It's a quite abstract
Yeah,
thing.
I was about to mention that it's something that you can really touch upon, put your finger in, but is what makes
Not
art
really,
so
no.
so interesting, right? To
Yeah,
to
I think so. I think so.
to
And it's not only about the victories, the things that go well. It's also about the failures, the times that you struggle and you feel lost creatively, and everything is a part of what makes you
and
who you
and
are as an artist.
and how you tried upon failure? How have
Oh
you?
yes, 100 times. And I've been um, throughout my journey at some point in the past. I've had many moments where I felt lost or hopeless, you know, and couldn't find my confidence in what I do and stuff. But I think it's all about not giving up and just keep going, and because at some point you get back on track, or you find something that gives you inspiration or strength, or you know, it's all about not giving up and keep going, keep creating.
I want to ask you about your culture. I understand that in some Nordic countries, Christianity promotes artistic education in instruments or choirs, helping to educate the voice, in addition to giving a sense of community by being like a meeting point, a point of encounter with each other. Is that true?
Did you say Christianity?
Yeah,
No.
like going to the church and so forth.
Well, I'm not sure. But I mean, do you mean in the Faroe Islands, or?
Yeah, or just Nordic culture in general.
Well, I'm not sure about the Christianity part, but in the Nordic countries, the government supports artists a lot. And as an
Okay.
artist, you can apply for fundings if you need to go to make an album or on tour or something. And I think in the Nordic countries, they really value artists and art, and they support them a lot. And then you have all the religions, I guess. Yeah, in churches people sing a lot, and but I think it's more in the government and in people in general who support the art. I don't know. I'm not good at answering that question, I guess.
Okay,
Maybe somebody else would be better at it.
let me switch the conversation. About, so you started quite young with the art of music, being immersed in it, and those influences from the beginning, would you say that prevail to these days, or have you added some new influences lately?
Yeah, I started when I was 16, and it's been, I mean, my first influences were bands like Radiohead and Massive Attack and Led Zeppelin.
Wow.
And then incredible singers like Joni Mitchell and Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, you know, all these incredible artists. And I guess along the way, you discover also new things that inspire you. And yes, I always get inspired by new music that I hear, I guess.
And
right now I'm listening to Lana Del Rey. Her new album is amazing.
Which one?
The newest one.
From Lorraine,
There's
did
a
you say?
tunnel under Hollywood Boulevard, I think it's called. It's incredible.
Okay. What other genres are you observing lately as an artist currently?
Genres.
Yeah.
I love Roixop. That's more like dance, electro dance music. I really enjoy that. I don't know. Yeah.
Do you like to keep up to date with new artists and new
trends? I try, but to be honest, I'm really slow at it sometimes, because lately I've been so much in the music myself, so I haven't found much time to check out new things. So, but then I get into periods where I really dive into what's going on at the moment. So
nice. Those moments.
I hope to do that in the summer.
Those moments
summer is a good time for that.
When you feel appreciative and trying to discover artists, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I enjoy that.
So speaking about you having like a long career, and you know, having lower points or lower points in that path, I guess you made the right choice because you have, you are in a great moment, in a great place now, artistically speaking. And let me just ask you, and I hope perhaps this is a silly question, but what would you be if not an artist? What will be your other passion in life?
I would definitely be painting. I really
Oh,
like to paint, and it's my second, or if I wouldn't be able to sing and make music, I would have to do something creative, because I don't think I would survive if I couldn't do something creative in life. So I would be painting, you know.
and have you done it, or are you doing it?
Oh yes, I paint a lot when I can. But unfortunately, because music takes up so much space, not unfortunately, I'm very grateful. But that because of that, I don't have enough time to paint. But I do paint a lot, yes,
It's it's
when I'm
it's not
home.
it's not a bad problem to have, to have um many activities with your other art.
No,
It's a
it's
good problem
lovely,
to have.
and for me, it kind of goes hand in hand. When I'm in a creative process, I often switch between. Maybe I write some music and then I feel, oh, I need to switch my brain to something, a different kind of creativity, which is painting. And sometimes it will resolve the song, the journey of the song for me to just switch to painting for a while. So
That's
it's
interesting.
nice to have do the two different um, art forms in a way.
What kind of paintings or painters do you admire?
Um, Well, I love, what do I love? There are many incredible Faeroese painters, of course, which the world probably doesn't know very well, but there's one of my favorites called Meechiness. And then there is, yeah, who else? I love Monet or Frida Kahlo, and
Oh, nice.
all these expressive painters who kind of tell a story with their paintings. Beautiful.
I never imagined to see you mention Frida Kahlo.
Well, she's a hero, a legend.
I appreciate that. Let me ask you, this is a funny question for you. If you had the chance to create or choose for a just let's say a tour with you, having in the middle and having an artist before and an artist as after.
A
Uh,
tour,
yeah, a tour with
okay?
three artists, and you being like at the conjuncture of both projects musically. What artist will that be? Will those be?
That I would
First,
tour with.
yeah, that you will choose to tour with.
And do they have to be like artists that are alive today?
No, that's the
They
fun
can
part
be
of the
like long
question.
gone.
Yeah.
Okay, I would choose to tour with. I would really want to tour with Leonard Cohen. I
Oh,
would love to have some good chats with him in the tour bus about life.
I see.
And then who else? Who else? Joni Mitchell. Those two. They could teach me a lot. So I
Mm.
would choose them.
Mm. Okay, yeah. This is
That is from the
unexpected.
top of my head.
Okay, this is honest. Well, from the top of your head, I
Oh
think
shit.
these are your most honest picks.
Yeah, I guess.
Another thing, and this is one of my last questions, if you could relate the topics of this album with another piece of art form that already exists, like a painting, a movie, a book, anything beyond music, which one would that be and why? for this record in particular?
For this album?
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's okay.
Yeah, what would that be? What would that be? I haven't thought about this. But for me, visually, I think it would probably be a movie about space or something. Because when I created this album, I really felt like I was floating in space most of the time. Or like on a different, and then I would land on a different planet. So it would like be a futuristic sci-fi movie, I guess, with a lot of beautiful scenery from space. You see planets and stars, darkness and light. So it would probably, yeah, be like a sci-fi movie.
And okay, so no particular sci-fi movie. No,
No, I don't think it's been created yet.
Oh, okay. I see. Maybe in the future that movie
Maybe.
exists.
Maybe.
And this thing that you mentioned is perhaps what informed your visual aesthetics for this record, because you changed that. The costume, or the album cover, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's lately, or I think very visually about music. And when I think about when I thought about this album, I had a mood board where I had collected all these images and colors and moods. So I like to start projects with a visual feeling and mood that can inspire me to create and keep me in a certain mood. So I think it's kind of, and then as I go along and write the music, I also collect or draw, and just create visual things just to strengthen the mood of the music in the process, I think.
To keep you engaged in that mood and in those
Yeah,
particulars.
kind of, and then keeps inspiring me to kind of dive deeper into that certain mood.
And is it hard for you to discard good or bad ideas in the sense of, maybe this don't belong here, maybe in the future, but it has potential? Are you able to pick and choose those things?
Yeah, but I think that's during the years I've learned that you have to be it's many different stages of the creative process, and in the very beginning I'm always very open to everything, and I just go with the flow and create whatever I feel comes to me, and then I collect the ideas, and then I need a little break from it, and then usually I come back to it and I try to finish the ideas. And then I need a space again.
Okay.
And then I come back to the finished ideas, and I can kind of look at it with a different pair of glasses. I can look at it more with the judgmental, eye. But I try to really not judge anything before I've finished it. So,
okay, so you like to look at your songs through a different lens and like relax, sit back.
After I finish them, like completely, I try to finish everything I start.
Interesting, because with this kind of songs, I imagine it's hard to see the end result. Like when is it finished? It's full of nuances. It's perhaps less. It's perhaps needs more. It's a tricky path, right?
I think in a way you just know. You just know, when you're not missing anything anymore, when you feel like, okay, this is what it's supposed to be, then you just know, and then you have to stop.
Okay.
You should not keep trying. You feel when it's whole somehow.
You should not abuse it. Find the appropriate balance.
Exactly. Okay. Like painters, they always talk about this, to know when to stop.
Right.
Yeah. Know when to let it go.
I have one final question for you, and I hope that it's a good one. First, I need to mention Slur, Slug, that record. Sorry for the.
Yeah,
is for
that's good. Yeah.
is for me your most experimental record to date because I feel it like it's where you more deliberately try to experiment, right? And digest all of that. And well, that's my impression. That is your most eclectic record. But that doesn't mean that you are not evolving and doing different things. And what I'm trying to ask you is, would you say that you have done your most experimental record, or is perhaps that that is coming in the future for you? Something crazier.
But for me, and my newest album is probably the most experimental for me creatively. But
And you're right.
I
What can
can't
I say about that?
I can't tell or know what my next steps will be. So we'll just have to wait and see where my creative journey takes me next, I guess.
But you are open to the idea or digesting new elements into your music, infuse them, mix
Yeah,
them.
always.
Okay,
Always. That's what I do.
and that's why might make you an interesting artist, and
Thank
keeps
you.
you evolving. Thank you for your time, Ivor, and I hope that you enjoyed this
Thank you very much.
conversation. I hope to talk with you again in the future with your next record. I don't know how far is that, but I will still be here listening to your music, and you have a new fan here.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.